Welcome back, everyone, to the GOAT Gas Podcast. I am CW, and today we will begin a new series on the 1996 Chicago Bulls, that 72-10 Bulls that many and most believe are one of the best teams of all time. I did a video a few weeks ago about those two three-peat Bulls and teams during their three-peats that could have been a problem, maybe stop Jordan, Scottie, and those Bulls from winning 6 rings. I had a few commenters that asked about other teams against those championship Bulls, so I thought, why not do a series on what most people believe is the greatest Bulls team and possibly greatest team of all time against other teams from different eras, and how I think a 7-game series would go. So today is the first video of my 96 Bulls versus series, and we'll talk about the 96 Bulls against the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers. The 2001 Los Angeles Lakers, while not as good in the regular season as their 2000 team, were just pure destruction. In the 2001 NBA playoffs, those Lakers lost a whopping one game in the entire playoffs on their way to winning back-to-back titles, crushing the Arvidas, Sabonis, Scottie Pippen, Rasheed Wallace Trailblazers, those Chris Webber, Jason Williams, Peja Stojakovic Kings, and the Twin Tower San Antonio Spurs, and then ultimately winning the title after beating the Allen Iverson-led Philadelphia Sixers in a gentleman's sweep. Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant were a legendary 1-2 punch. Shaq averaging 30 points per game and 15 boards, while Kobe chipped in 29 points per game with 6 assists. That's a tough combo to handle, and based on their playoff run, showed with their near-perfect repeat. Chicago Bulls, meanwhile, we pretty much know them well. Up until 20 years later in 2016, they had the greatest regular season record, amassing a 72-10 record on their way to winning championship number 4 in 6 years. They too ran through their competition with little opposition, losing only 3 times throughout those playoffs. The duo of Jordan and Pippen were magical once again following Jordan's return for a full season after his first retirement. Jordan averaging nearly 31 points in those playoffs, with Pippen averaging 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. Their others, Dennis Rodman and Tony Kukoc, also being big contributors, with Rodman grabbing an average of nearly 14 boards and Kukoc contributing about 11 points per game. So in a high-stakes 7-game series, who would win? Let's first look at their seasons. The Los Angeles Lakers in 2001 had the 3rd best offense in the league, averaging 100.6 a game. Their defense, well, that came in at 23rd, allowing their opponents to score 97.2 points. They absolutely won when it mattered, but looking at this makes these Lakers seem a little weak on the defensive end of the court. Meanwhile, the 96 Chicago Bulls had the best offense of the season, averaging 105.2 a game. On defense, they were the 3rd best that year, only allowing other teams 92.9 points a game. Pretty solid on both ends of the floor. Seeing these stats, you can't help but give the early advantage to the Bulls team. I mean, come on now. Now let's talk about each team's advantages. First, Los Angeles Lakers. With the Hall of Fame, nearly unstoppable center, and a Jordan-esque guard in Kobe, Lakers pack a big-time problem defensively. It's really hard to stop a guy 7'1" and over 300 pounds who moves like a gazelle in the paint. Then you have a 6'6" shooting guard who mirrored much of his game after the guy he'd be playing on the opposing team and did it with excellent results. While not the defensive juggernaut the Bulls were, the Lakers' advantages were easily prime Shaq, rising, confident Kobe, decent others, Rick Fox, Derek Fisher, Horace Grant, Big Shot Bob, aka Robert Horry. Those guys chipped in, when they needed to, so they had a decent bench and they had decent role players. So that would, of course, be a big plus in a 7-game series against the 96 Bulls. Now, the Bulls, after talking about their season rankings, look like a complete menace of a team. This was Jordan in his absolute prime. Crazy determined after returning from his first retirement and facing defeat previous year without a full season. Also, Pippen was probably at his most confident as a player, having had to move into the leadership role for the 94 Bulls for most of 95. Now, not just Mike's sidekick, Scottie had a swag and a poise that made him as much of a threat on the floor as the GOAT. Top that off with the fearless Dennis Rodman, willing to do every bit of the dirty work to assure victories, whether he has to put his body on the line getting railroaded by Shaq or throwing guys like Rick Fox or Horace Grant off the game with his ability to get under other players' skin. So the Bulls have exceptional defense, the GOAT, Michael Jordan, and a solid bench too, with Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr. Add in Bill Winnington a little bit. So what would be the X factor for the Lakers? I think Shaq in the clutch. Shaq would need to do something he's never done well at all, make free throws. Barring early foul trouble, Rodman would likely step up to the task guarding Shaq in those closing minutes and probably frustrating and slowing down the freight train. This would bring the Lakers game to a screeching halt and would mean they'd have to deal with the Bulls' firepower after most likely unsuccessful free throw trips and or go small with Horry subbing in for Shaq at times. Shaq would likely have to be the second option going down to the wire, and Kobe with the others would really have to step up as the Bulls defense would likely be all into them and leaving Shaq and Rodman on an island. Now, what would be the X factor for the Bulls? Basketball IQ down the stretch. With Lakers being a not so great defensive team in 01, Kobe was a solid defender. Michael Jordan is my GOAT, but if in a close game he tries to overshoot it against a pretty good defender in Kobe, he could shoot those Bulls out of winnable games. A concerted attack against a below average defense and less ISO would likely lead to big and easy buckets and the Bulls being able to steal games that they may have fallen behind in early. Jordan would need to be Jordan in spurts, but rely on guys like Pippen, Kukoc, and Kerr when needing some firepower in a close one. So who wins? In my opinion, these are two extremely good, well-oiled machines. I don't think home court will give either much of an advantage. Of course, the coaching is a wash because, well, yeah. So who goes home with bragging rights in a Game 7 series? Call me biased, but I have to go with those 1996 Chicago Bulls defeating the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers 4-2. I think the Bulls starters with Ron Harper, Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, and Luke Longley, along with Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr coming off the bench, are solid enough to stifle most of what the Lakers team could do offensively, probably only having significant trouble with Shaq. Kobe would get his for the most part, but having to deal with a likely barrage of Harper, still in his prime for the most part, prime Jordan, and Scottie would be a tall task for Kobe to endure. Meanwhile, Shaq would be pestered by Rodman and likely have his way with Longley, but have to work for everything he gets. So what about you guys? Do you agree? Disagree? Do you think it could go 7, or could it even go fewer? Let me know in the comment section. Since I'm sticking with 2000 for the first set of 96 Bulls versus, let me know which championship teams of the 2K you would like for me to break down, and I'll try to get that out in the next coming week. Also, if you want to ascend to GOAT status like number 23, please hit that like and subscribe button. Helps out the channel and keeps things moving. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon with more content. Thank you.